Testing, testing. There we go. Audio is on. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's live stream. Good to see ya. Thanks for joining us today. Just hanging out. Let me get everything set up real quick, and we can get going. Hello, Jessica, Madeline, and Diana, and Katie. Hello, everyone. What's going on, guys? So that's up there. Hello. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. I'll tell you what, I am a little bit tired today. Ended up staying up to like 2 or 3 in the morning, and so I was like falling asleep at my desk while I was working earlier today. But the day is almost over, which is nice. Hello, highly favored from South Africa. Hello, Evan. Good to see you guys. Matthew from Belfast, Northern Ireland. Very cool. Evan says John is doing his stream. Awesome. John does a good job with his streams. Now I feel like I'm missing something. Am I missing something on this? Nope, we're doing all right. Cool. John sent me, Zek says, oh, coming from John's stream. We had everybody coming on in from John's stream. Very cool. Hello, everybody. What's going on? So, any of you guys are in the Maryland area? I will be in Maryland for the next 2-3 days. So, should be cool to see any of you guys that are out that way. So we got tons of people from John's stream. Hey, Laura, Sophia, Sherry, we got Joel, we got God's Original, Ellie, and Mackenzie, and Zek coming over for John's channel. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming in and hanging out today. Seems like his stream ended right when mine was beginning, which is kind of cool. Well, if this is your first time here at the channel, welcome. Glad to have you guys here every single day at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. At least that's the goal. I try to go live and do a little bit of a Q&A. Very similar channel to what John does, teaching about the Bible, commonly asked questions, just sharing my walk with you guys and things like that. So love to have you guys subscribe. Thank you very much for the subscriptions. Laura and was it Joel, who I just saw? Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Hey, John's here. Live stream raid. Yes, that's what's up. Good to see you guys. So, oh, we got a handful of people just subbing. Sweet. Good to see all you guys. Sophia, yeah, what's the channel about? So the channel is about helping you experience God better for yourself, helping you understand the Bible, grow your faith, all those different kinds of things. One of the things that I really strive to do on my channel is to have some of the more challenging conversations about faith that a lot of times people aren't interested in having. And so whether that's conversations on controversial subjects, things like homosexuality or any of the other kind of hot buttons, and kind of really engage in a discussion. So lately, I have not been doing a lot of the one-off videos where it's just like me talking to the camera and I share my thoughts for 6 or 7 minutes, but more so been doing longer form content. Many of you guys know I did a series with John. We're actually still in the middle of our series, Letters to the Church. You guys can check that out for sure. Notable interview that I did recently was talking to a pastor who recently basically quit his church and his journey through that. And so those are the kinds of things that I like to talk about, share my walk with God with you guys, and kind of just share what I'm wrestling through. So those are the kinds of things that I like to talk about. Let me turn on the fan real quick. It's a little warm up here. Turn on the fan. Oh, that's loud. That said, let's go ahead and dive in. Let's do some questions and answers. We got CJ and Andrew in the chat, moderators helping us out, answering some of the questions as well. But go ahead and let me know what you're thinking about. And before we start, again, I want to give a huge shout out to our patrons for supporting this channel and making live streams like this possible. Thank you very, very much for your consistent support. And of course, Super Chat is turned on. It is something that you can do if you'd like to tap into it. It's a way to get your question on the screen. Of course, you can see all of these questions here, but it displays it a little bit more specially. And then, of course, I respond to every single question, but it's also just a way to support the channel. So Super Chat and patrons are ways to support and to get involved if that's something that you'd like to do. But with that said, let's go ahead and look at the questions and let's dive in. What's the weather like in the West Coast right now? It's actually quite nice. It's probably like mid 70s, so very comfortable, very nice. Emily, when she gets home from work, we're probably going to go and take the puppy out to the dog park, which is something that we like to do after work. Sophia, how to keep your faith in high school? So, I believe that faith, here's an analogy. Faith is oftentimes much like a muscle. If you exercise that muscle, if you strengthen it, if you challenge it, and you feed it all the nutrients that it needs, it's going to grow. However, if you don't use it, there's this thing called atrophy, where basically the muscle winds down and breaks down. Same thing is true with faith. Faith is like a muscle. You have to exercise it. There are certain spiritual disciplines that help you have faith. Here, consider Romans chapter 10 and verse 17. The Bible says in Romans 10, verse 17, that faith comes through hearing, and hearing through the word of Christ. Oh, let me scroll that down. Hearing from the word of Christ. In other words, one of the many ways that you can strengthen your faith is making a regular practice of studying the word of God, listening to podcasts and sermons, listening to books and audio sermons, things like that. Different ways for you to continually study and grow in your knowledge and understanding of the Bible. One of the many ways to grow your faith, getting involved with the local community, things along those lines. Those are all really helpful things. Oh, John Jorgensen with the $2 super chat. Only cool kids do the super chat. You know, John, I do agree with you. I do believe that the cool kids are the ones doing the super chat. So thanks for the $2, buddy. And thanks for rating the stream. It's pretty fun. By the way, any of you guys, if you haven't by any chance seen John's channel yet, John does a pretty awesome job making content that I really enjoy, that has been helpful to my spiritual growth. And so on that question, how do you keep the faith when you're in high school? One of those great answers is surrounding yourself with other people. People like John. Even if you can't hang out with him in person, hanging out on his channel is a really great way to do that. Evan says, I want to, but I don't have the money. That's okay. No big deal. No problem. Amanda says, I don't feel as strong in my relationship with God anymore. I don't want to turn away and I want to love God. Any advice? Amanda, really good question. A lot of times, especially when we're in the thick of it all, it's easy to equate the way that we feel about something with our love. And this makes sense because when we watch movies, when we have a special someone like a boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever the case is, there's this sense that when our emotions are heading the same way as what we're wanting, when we feel good, we have the butterflies in our stomach, that is what love is actually about. And this can easily carry over to our walk with God. You know, we go to a church, we give our heart to the Lord, there's a powerful altar call, we hear a great song or a stirring message or whatever the case is. A lot of times, it's easy to equate our walk with God, our relationship with God, our love for God, with our feelings for God. But anyone who's been in a long-term relationship, anyone certainly who's ever been married, will definitely tell you that it's not always true that your feelings are in line with everything, with what love truly is. Love is a little bit deeper than just the way that you feel. Love is about service. Love is about a principle. Love isn't just a fleeting emotion. Feelings will come and go, but principle and dedication and service really go deeper than that. And so when I'm struggling with my feelings for God and my emotions, and when I'm not feeling like I love God, I got to remember that, you know what, my feelings aren't always the most accurate and most reliable thing for me to trust in. And so in those moments, I try and say, you know what, this is what it's talking about. This is what it means to live a life of faith as opposed to feelings. And so I would challenge you to more so strive to live by faith and not by your emotions. Rashawn, how do you control your emotions? I think one of the most important steps about that is to really recognize that your emotions are simply, a lot of times your emotions are just what's going on in your mind biochemically. Your emotions are just feelings. Emotions are fleeting, and they come and they go. And so I actually don't try to dwell on my emotions as much. as best as I can when I'm trying to make decisions on life, especially the big things in life, right? Like who am I going to marry, what school, what job. I try hard to not make any decisions based on my emotions. And I try even harder not to make any decisions quickly that are kind of life-changing and kind of, these bigger questions. I try to let time pass before making important decisions, because we've all been in the situation before where we're like making impulse decisions and then we regret them later. And so recognizing that your emotions don't actually have to control you, but you can control them. Great questions. I'm reading. Oh, here's a question. This is an interesting one. Is it okay to be friends with a Satanist, and when do we have to leave it to God? Katie is asking. I'm a firm believer that it is healthy as a general principle to have friends and people within your community from different perspectives. I don't believe in the kind of Christianity that's like, oh, I'm going to go hide in the cave and do nothing and interact with nobody because I want to be holy and I want to be better than all these other people. I don't subscribe to that kind of Christianity. I look at the example of Jesus, and Jesus would hang out, yes, with religious people, a lot of religious people. His closest friends and his closest network were oftentimes the people who had the similar values as him. But it was also true that Jesus spent time with other people. Now, you have to recognize in those situations that what do you stand for? What are the principles and morals and ethics that you subscribe to? And is the time that you spend with these people, is it more so them rubbing off on you, or are you being a light to them? Here's something to consider. Psalms chapter 1 says, blessed is the man, and of course you could say woman, blessed is the man or woman who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the ways of sinners, nor sits in the seats of the scoffer. Okay? In other words, you will be happier, generally speaking, when you're not surrounding yourself by too many people who are different than you. It's important not to isolate yourself too much, but the Bible does say it is wise to consider who you're spending time with. So it's one of those things that there's no clear answer. You got to keep it in tension. Specifically, if you're younger, I would say you want to be very careful with who you allow into your life, what kind of influence you have. When I see the example of Jesus, there are multiple like concentric circles of his friends. And I know that Jesus had 12 disciples, right? Even amongst the 12 disciples, there were the three that Jesus tended to favor the most, Peter, James, and John. And even amongst those three, one of them was the closest. The book of John says the disciple that Jesus loved was John. So you can kind of see like there's, at the very core, those whom he's most intimate with. Then there's a little bit less intimacy, And even beyond the 12 disciples, there was the 70 and then the great multitude. And so that's the kind of principle I try and have with my own life, with the company that I keep. The people who are closest to me are the people that are the most similar to me. But as I have going from close friends to kind of more acquaintances to just kind of people I interact with on a more professional level, perhaps, that's kind of where I try and place them in those concentric circles. Hopefully that helps. CJ, your summoning has failed. Yes, that's right. Darth Vader is not here right now, unfortunately. Darth Vader is one of our other mods. He's usually here in the live chat. I'm seeing that I'm gonna resize the chat window because it's like blocking all over my face. You guys are blowing up the chat. There you go. Fix that. Alrighty, God has given me the gift of help. How do you suggest I start my own ministry with this gift? Alexandra's asking. Great question, Alexandra, especially with your gift, but this is true of pretty much all gifts to begin with. I don't believe that God always calls you to start your own ministry. In fact, probably the biggest key to success early on is to be aware of where God is currently working, and rather than starting your own thing, go and join where God is working. Go and volunteer with a local church. Go and find people already doing things and lend your gifts and services to support what they are doing. And in doing, what you'll find is that you're going to actually learn a lot from these people. You're going to be able to sharpen your skills. You're going to be able to strengthen the skills that you are lacking in. And so actually just helping other people fulfill their mission and their calling with God is a great way to get started. And as you do that, things start to clarify for you a little bit more and help you realize, oh, this is what I'm really good at. This is what God has called me to do. This is where I'm happiest in serving God. And it's kind of a journey of discovery. But start off by supporting people that are close to you. Celeste the best. Long time no see. Do you remember me? Uh-oh. I'm going to get in trouble, aren't I? Let me see. I'm going to look up your profile. I don't know if I do or not. Celeste, where are you from? I'm looking at your channel and I see a video of a horse. I'm assuming you're not a horse. Nope. You're going to have to let me know, Celeste, where you're from. I'm sorry, it doesn't immediately jump to mind. Kevin Wilson, what's going on, Kevin? Good to see you on the channel. Kevin is a pastor in San Diego. He also runs a channel as well. Says, bro, what do we tell our youth or young adults who are tired of the system and also tired of sticking around? Kevin, that is a tough one, because I am, if you've been following my journey, I am one that is in the last couple of years been more and more increasingly frustrated with the church. And while that's the case, my efforts have always been to help foster intimacy and closeness and a stronger relationship with people in the church, even when the church is frustrating. It's like family, bro. You have people in your life that will come and go. Best friends from 6th grade who you said best friends forever, that, you know, unfortunately they no longer are best friends, you know, at all. But the main thing that is difference between your friends and your family is that family is forever. Your family should be the kinds of people that you stick with through thick and thin, even when you're pissed off, even when you have fights, even when you don't see eye to eye. Family is who's going to be around you, you know, all the time. And I look at church as an extension of my family. Even when I have fights or disagreements, or I'm frustrated with people in the church or with the church at large, I view them not as just people that I voluntarily get to hang out with, but those are my family. Those are the people that God has placed me in community with. And so I try to have as much grace and patience whenever I see these kinds of things taking place. Celeste says, oh, it's okay. If you don't, I just used to come to be active on your channel. A lot of people have come through here, so no worries. Well, Celeste, I will remember your name, so every time you're in the live chat moving forward, I will recognize your name. Glad that you're back here. Favorite book of the Bible? My favorite book of the Bible... What is my favorite book of the Bible right now? What I've been reading? I have been going through... I'm studying presently the Gospels, so Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I know that's kind of a cop-out because that's like 4 books of the Bible, but that's what I'm spending more time reading lately, and moving forward for sure. I'm definitely wanting to spend more time doing that. What is your definition of a mature Christian? Ooh, Alexa, good question. Alexandra, sorry, good question. So my definition of a mature Christian is actually something that a mentor taught me one day many years ago. This is the example of Jesus in Luke 2:52. It says this, and Jesus increased in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and man. Okay, so there are 4 ways that Jesus was consistently growing. See at this verse and see if you can pick it out. There's 4 ways. Wisdom, mentally. Stature is physically. Favor with God is spiritually. And favor with man is socially. Okay, 4 different ways. You're growing mentally, physically, you're growing spiritually, and you're growing socially. A balanced Christian, in my opinion, is someone who actually doesn't allow one of these 4 areas to supersede the other. In other words, a mature Christian is a Christian that has all 4 areas balanced. Okay? You're not one of these people who's so concerned about the social component. Oh, what's my social media like? What are my friends like? Oh, the party scene. Like you're always trying to hang out with people to the neglect of all these other things. You're not one of these kinds of people who just always is working out and is super healthy and all this kind of stuff, and you're just only worried about the physical. Also, you're not one of these people who's just so super spiritual that like you can't even relate with real human beings. And so a mature Christian, in my opinion, is someone who's evenly balanced amongst these 4 areas. Mentally, physically, spiritually, and socially. That's what a mature Christian looks like to me. Hey there, Justin. I was wondering if you can turn up the volume. The last few live feeds, and I was able to turn on. Okay, let me turn up the volume. Oh, you're absolutely right. I apologize for that. That should be a much better for all you guys. I had my mic turned down for a previous recording. How's that audio now there, Helen? Appreciate you letting me know. There you go, much better. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you guys for calling me out on that. Letting me know that the audio is not working out so good. When am I coming back to Georgia? Evan asks. I went to Georgia to speak at a Korean church a couple of weeks ago. I don't know when I'm going back to Georgia. I'm actually going to Maryland tomorrow. If any of you guys are in Maryland, would be cool to see you guys. I'll be there for like all the way till Saturday night, Sunday morning. Is this a K-pop channel? No, not a K-pop channel. I'm not much of a pop music person to begin with. What's your favorite Christian book? Right now, let's go with this one because it's the one that's closest to me. It's the one that I've been thinking about the most. Good job with the ukulele, Justin. Thank you very much, Lisa. Appreciate it. Joel's asking, how do you assess and respond to conspiracy theories? What's the consideration that we are called to be vigilant? I don't think vigilancy has really anything to do with conspiracy theories. I think the most important thing is to keep your eyes on Jesus and not to be distracted by other things. So if your eyes are on Jesus, Jesus will communicate to you what's important to know at the right time. And so I really don't ever think about conspiracy theories. I used to spend a lot of time thinking about conspiracy theories like secret societies, Illuminati, blah, 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 blah. But I realized that the fruit of that was just spiritual arrogancy and pride. And it really didn't actually help me develop the fruits of the spirits. And so I just pretty much completely disregard them now. Plug it, Andrew says. Yes, the series that John and I did released yesterday. 2 new episodes are out in our series on Letters to the Church. Thank you, Andrew, for asking me to plug it. Do you like the music NF puts out? I don't know what NF is. I don't listen to a lot of music, to be honest. Let's see. What do you think about Halloween? Ooh, Mary, good question. I'm actually working on a script right now for a Halloween inspired video. Hopefully should be ready by next week, so I won't actually spoil the surprise. I am actively working on that script as we talk. Mary, what's the book called? Oh, the book is called Letters to the Church by Francis Chan. There you go. You can see it right there. We've done we've done how many videos now? 6 videos on this specific book. So if you've ever wanted to read a book that's good, get the book. But what's cooler about that is John Jorgensen and I actually go chapter by chapter, sharing with you guys our thoughts on the book to help you dive deeper into it and kind of wrestle through it and apply some of the questions and things like that. So it's pretty cool. Gumby asked a good question. Let me scroll up for Gumby. Where's Gumby? Am I Korean? No, I'm not Korean. I'm Filipino Chinese. So I do like Korean food, if that helps. Yeah, but I'm not Korean. Do you think haters are just people who are jealous? Sometimes haters are jealous people, but sometimes haters are just people who are angry. How old am I? I am a ripe, young 28 years old. It's crazy to think that, because when I was in high school and I heard someone say 28, I thought, man, they're old. And now I'm that old age. But yeah. How do I get a habit of reading my Bible to be more knowing of God? Nightcrawler's asking. Well, just consistency matters a lot, but it's important to read the Bible not for the sake of just reading the Bible, but really to understand God and understand who he is. The Bible is not just a book of doctrines and teachings. It's not just a book of, let's say, even prophecy. It's not just a book of morals and ethics. Primarily, the Bible is a book that's meant to describe God's character. And so reading the Bible with an eye towards trying to understand and seek God really makes the Bible come alive. Hey, Cringe Keeper, thank you very much for the subscription. Appreciate that. Let's see. Someone's asking, Justin, can you go over Deuteronomy 25, 11, and 12? Some atheists on YouTube brought it up. Kind of disturbing. All right, Deuteronomy 25. I'm not sure what this verse says, so we'll go through this in real time. I don't know if I know what this means or not. Miscellaneous laws. Okay. When men fight with one another and the wife of the one husband draws near to rescue her husband from the hand of him who is beating him and puts out her hand and seizes him by the private parts, then you shall cut off her hand. Your eye shall have no pity. Dang, that's intense. All right. I don't know. I'm going to look up a couple of the resources that I like to look at when I am studying the Bible. Give me a second. Whoa, I apologize if you hear that sound. That's really loud. I heard that. One of the things that helps me when I study the scriptures is I look at a lot of Bible commentaries. I'll be the first to admit that I'm no like super expert when it comes to like these things. I'm always learning, I'm always growing, and so having really great resources is a great way to kind of get better and to know what other people have studied and thought that have gone before. Deuteronomy chapter 25 and verse, let's see, 10. Oh, interesting. So the first commentary that I look at is saying that the rabbis back in those days did not accept that this text was meant to be taken literally. It's supposed to talk about like it's just a severe punishment, and later rabbis actually changed the sentence to one of a heavy fine. That's something to think about. I don't know. Like this is a very interesting passage. Obviously, it's pretty intense. I'd have to actually do a lot more reading and studying about this to kind of understand it a little bit more. Obviously, at first read, it sounds crazy. It sounds like really severe and overreaching. But I'll be the first to say I don't know. I don't know what to make of this passage right now. Let's see. What are things that I should teach pre-believers? I don't know what you mean by pre-believer. Someone who hasn't accepted Jesus yet? Teach them about compassion? Teach them about character? Through your actions, perhaps? I don't know. Let's see. Why did people in the Bible have more than one wife? Mary's asking. That's a good question. That was just something that they seemed to do in the Old Testament. The New Testament doesn't seem to say that that's a practice that we should continue. Let me show you guys. In 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse, let's look at verse 2. Talking about anyone who's supposed to like lead the church. Therefore, an overseer must be above reproach, the husband of one wife, sober-minded, self-controlled, respectable, hospitable, and able to teach. Yeah, obviously a lot of people in the Old Testament had multiple wives, but you notice that nowhere in the Old Testament does God endorse this practice. In fact, if you actually read between the lines, literally every single time someone had more than one wife, it ended poorly for them. Every single example of someone who had multiple wives, like their life was miserable as a result of it. It caused jealousy, it caused fighting, it caused all kinds of issues because of their multiple wives. So when you're reading through the Bible, it's important to know the difference between verses that are descriptive and verses that are prescriptive. Two different approaches to a text. Is the text describing what took place? Oh, hey, so-and-so had two wives. That's describing the fact of it, the reality, the history of what it was. But is that prescriptive? Is God saying that you should do this or that this is best to be done? And even if it is a descriptive text, a prescriptive text, is this prescription for all people at all time? So those are the kind of things that you should be thinking about when you're looking at the text. When I look at something like multiple wives, to me, it's more of a descriptive thing. And if you read between the lines, it's not a very good thing to take place either. You see more clearly in 1 Timothy 3, no, husband of one wife. You see the example of Adam and Eve, one man, one woman. Good questions. Lisa's asking, what do you think about For King and Country's music? Again, I don't really listen to a lot of music. I apologize. People ask me about music a lot, but I like the honest truth. is I don't listen to music almost ever. I listen to audiobooks and podcasts like 9 times out of 10 whenever I'm listening to something, or maybe a YouTube channel or something like that. But I almost never listen to music. So I don't even know of one song by King and Country, unfortunately. Wish I could help you on that. How do you find all the answers so fast in the Bible? Having practice, I guess. You know, I've done ministry now. I'm kind of coming up on my 12th year of ministry, so I have a lot of experience teaching and answering questions and things like that. For those of you guys who don't know, I used to teach at a Bible college. Actually, is what I did prior to YouTube. So I had just a lot of practice, and it helps. It also helps to have the internet right in front of me. So when I can't remember the specific book, chapter, and verse, I can Google the phrasing because I know what the phrase that I'm looking for. Like when I was doing the 1 Timothy 3 verse, like I didn't remember this passage, but I do remember the husband of one wife. Like that's a phrase that's in the verse that I'm looking for. So I type it into Google, husband of one wife, and it says 1 Timothy 3. So it looks more impressive because you can't see me typing and see all the screens that I see. But yeah. Let's see. Another question was, what does Romans chapter 1 verse 27 mean? Let's look it up. You guys are asking questions about specific verses. This is more challenging for me because I am unable to always answer every single one of these because it's very likely I haven't studied that verse before, or it's very likely I haven't studied that specific verse in some time. So I'll do my best. Romans 1 verse 27, and the men likewise gave up natural relations with women and were consumed with passion for one another, men committing shameless acts with men and receiving in themselves the due penalty for their error. So my understanding of this passage is that this is talking about same-sex intimacy. Talking about how this is not part of God's ideal or his plan for us. When it talks about natural relations, I think about the body's natural design, how male parts seem to be designed to go very well with female parts, if you understand what I'm saying without actually saying it. So that's kind of what I feel about it. What is your favorite podcast? Ooh, great question. I love being able to brag about podcasts. My favorite podcast right now is a podcast called No Dumb Questions. No Dumb Questions by Destin and Matt. Matt is a fellow YouTuber who's known for his YouTube channel, the 10-Minute Bible Hour. And Destin is also a YouTuber known for his channel, Smarter Every Day. And they do a podcast together. And it's incredible. Do you like Filipino food? Yes, I do like Filipino food. Though I am a vegetarian now. And so eating Filipino food is a little bit more challenging because a lot of Filipino food is meat-based. Does your church do worship songs that are original or mainstream? I don't think anyone in my church writes music that I'm aware of, at least not is performed on the weekends. And so in that respect, I would say it's a little bit more mainstream in that we do a lot of the like Hillsong Elevation type stuff, but then also a lot of old school hymns from like, you know, songs that were written in the 17 or 1800s, you know, things like that. And so it's kind of a mixture of everything. There are on a given weekend some contemporary songs, and there are some that are more traditional songs. It's a little bit of a blend of everything. Do I miss eating meat? On occasion, especially when I drive by like a KFC, the smell of fried chicken always is like, oh, that smells so good. Do I miss it? Sometimes, not always. I'm pretty happy where I'm at right now. CJ says, I so want to start a podcast. Please pray that God will lead me to talk to the right folks. That sounds awesome, CJ. Podcasting is so much fun. I really like the longer, more informal style than what YouTube, what kind of videos do well on YouTube. The kinds of videos that tend to do well are videos that are short and like really punchy and to the point. And that's nice and all, but I just like having real talk, like real conversations, where I can take some time to ask the person what they mean, to expand on it and develop their thoughts a little bit more and kind of like have a real dialogue. And so that's why I really love podcasts. Helen says Bible Flocks channel is Seventh-day Adventist as well, but he says Christian contemporary music is music of the devil. He says we should not listen to it. What do you think? I would respectfully disagree with him. I don't feel so strongly on that. I think that there is certainly music that Christians are better off not listening to. But do I paint every single contemporary piece of music as devil's music? No, I don't. I understand why he would say that, but I would just respectfully disagree. I don't know how to pronounce this name. I apologize. I'm going to try and butcher it. Mukithwa Mathoma. What do you think about marriage and divorce and marrying someone again? While Jesus said, if you divorce, don't remarry. That wasn't exactly what Jesus said. Jesus says that he only allows divorce for the case of infidelity. There are a couple other principles in Scripture that are kind of that are around this subject as well. But in the case of infidelity, the Bible does permit remarriage, as far as I understand. Jennifer, what do you think about someone getting married again after an abusive marriage? Does God forgive on a person that got into that marriage? Yeah, God absolutely forgives that. When it comes to an abusive marriage, that's something that I'm not 100% sure on. The scriptures does seem to say that the only way that you can get remarried is if your spouse or your former spouse commits adultery. Then you are free to get remarried. In the case of abuse, does that satisfy that? I don't think so. So my initial tendency is to say that if you are in an abusive relationship, number one, like get help, get out of that. Like God does not want you to suffer through an abusive relationship at all. But if the other person does not remarry, I don't believe that you are permitted scripturally to get remarried at that point. I could be wrong on that, but I'm fairly certain that that's what the scriptures teach. I don't remember the verse off the top of my head, so I'd have to look at it. Excuse me. Tips for Christian dating, Abby is asking. Abby, you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific. It's difficult to know what you mean by tips for dating, because that's a very broad question. I do want to do this though. Give me a second. I'll open up the. How do I make this work? Is this dashboard? That's the one. I want to go to, not that one, but I want to go to my channel. Whoops. Okay, so this is something I've been showing people over the last little while. If you look right here, this is my YouTube channel page on a desktop. You can see that we're live right now and all you guys are watching, which is cool. First thing, for dating and relationships, I do have right here a full playlist. I don't know if you can see that. This first playlist that's right here on the left-hand side. This is a whole playlist dedicated to dating and relationships. But another thing is, if you look, how do I get my mouse to show up? Well, that's annoying. Okay, so look under where it says That Christian Vlogger. There's home, videos, playlist, community, channels, about, and then there's this search phrase right here. You can type words into this search phrase, and I'll put in Christian dating, and it'll literally siphon through all of the videos that I've done on Christian dating. And as you can see, I've done lots. So you can hear how I met my wife. You can talk about modesty. You can talk about singleness, how to know they're the ones, why guys don't ask you out, interracial relationships. Like, there's literally a ton of these on Christian dating if you want to check them out. So check out the channel page on a desktop, and you can search through all the videos that are there. I wish that worked on my phone so bad. Yeah. I think if you go to like a Google browser, like Safari or Google Chrome or something, and then go youtube.com, and instead of using the app and just go to the desktop version, you should be able to work through it in that way as well. Thank you. You're very welcome. Oh, here's your follow-up question. What's the number one thing that you would advise for keeping God the first and foremost thing in a dating relationship, is what I meant specifically. Great question, Abby. Number one thing that I would advise for helping keep God first and foremost in a dating relationship. Realize that you do not grow close to someone by accident. Okay? No one gets close to anyone accidentally. That's true of your boyfriend or girlfriend. That's true of your marriage. That's true of your friends. And that's true of your relationship with God. You do not accidentally grow close to God. It takes effort. It takes intentionality. It takes time. It takes, this consistency. And so if that's something that you're wanting to prioritize, you have to work that into your schedule. Don't wait for time. Work it into your schedule where you are intentional about finding time every day. If you can't do every day, you want to get it as frequently as you can and develop that relationship over time. Evan says, we're 10 minutes over. I just noticed that as well. And Emily just walked in the front door. And so I do need to get going. I'll go for a few more minutes. Normally, guys, we do live chats for 30 minutes from 5 to 5:30, and we try and stick it to 30 minutes. I'm leaving tomorrow to go to Maryland, and I won't see Emily for like the next 3 or 4 days. And so I do need to spend time with the family, but I'll hang out here for a few questions, a few more. And by the way, if you are someone who needs prayer too, at the end of the live chat, we always have our mods hang out. Andrew and CJ are here today. Usually we have another mod who's here. And if you have any prayer requests or additional questions, oftentimes they're very helpful and they can steer you in the right direction as well. What am I going to be doing in Maryland? I'm actually going to be speaking at a church media and like communications conference. I'm going to be teaching 2 seminars on YouTube ministry, actually. Pretty cool. Is there a live stream tomorrow? That is a great question. let me pull up my calendar. I don't know when do I land. I fly to, nope. Where is, here, I can pull it up on Facebook. I have to find my itinerary because there is a chance that I will literally be flying at that time. Where is that message? There it is. And I don't land until 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. So I literally don't land until 5:15 Pacific. So likely there isn't going to be a live stream on time. If there is a live stream, it will be one of those live streams with my phone. And it's probably going to be while I'm still in the car driving away from the airport. And so it might be a shorter one. So tentatively, a late live stream tomorrow. We'll see. You could vlog. Yeah, I am trying to do a vlog over the course of the next couple of days. You guys hear that doggy toy Ronan's playing with? Speaking of Andrew, dude, if you are able to come down to Maryland, it would be awesome to see you. I think that you would really be interested in this communications conference if you have some spare time. Hey, babe. People are asking for you to say hi before I close out. Let me call Emily so that she can say hi to you guys as well and maybe answer 1 or 2 questions. Yeah, we do need to take him outside. Oh, let me show. So this is Ronan's latest toy. It is a hedgehog. Hedgehog. And this is the sound that the hedgehog makes.
It's like a pig.
Yeah. The first night that we brought it home, Ronan was terrified of this thing, and now it's like his favorite toy. You chewed up your AirPod or whatever the case thing is. It's just the plot paper though. All right, come say hi. Come hang out for a tiny bit.
Okay.
Yeah, they can't see you at all. How was your day?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything special happen? Emily started a new job over the last couple weeks.
What to work with is really
Here, so that way you can monitor your own. How close you need to be to this. This is how you're supposed to sound.
Oh.
So you can come close to
I don't want to be that close. That's weird.
No, this is how you're supposed to talk to them. Like this sounds so much better. So like everyone's saying, hi, 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 hi. Can Emily sing? Is what Rebecca has asked. Emily has the ability to sing. Will Emily sing today?
No.
No, Emily's not gonna sing.
I have a cough, kind of.
She's got a cough. She's got a cough.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to work with a really sweet 8th grade boy. He's like handicapped in every way, pretty much physically, mentally. And he's just like, he's one of those, I don't know if you've met people with Downs, but like one of those who's just like always loving. He just wants to come and hug you, and he like is just so sweet. And the way he's excited, he's not really verbal. He just goes when he gets excited. He's and you can tell like when he's excited. And it's just he's just so sweet. And I don't know, he just made my day because he's just so sweet. He's like never angry. Really, he's just like always just smiling and wants to give you a hug. And he likes to give people like raspberries, like he'll go up to you and give you a raspberry. So we're working on like social stuff like that, like, you know, personal space, but he's so sweet. Yeah.
So let's do this. We will do a rapid fire series of questions with Emily. So give us as many questions as you can for Emily in particular. They could be like not necessarily about the Bible, but just like random questions about life or whatever the case is, and we'll try and cycle through as many of those as we can, and then we'll close out. So like a mini lightning round or something. So send us your questions. What is your job now?
I am a school-based occupational therapist. So I work with kids with special needs, learning challenges, and just help them participate in the school environment to the best of their abilities. Yeah.
Bananas or apples?
Apples.
What's your favorite thing about being a wife?
Just the relational aspect and like having a partner in life to do stuff with every day is really fun.
How long have we been married?
Over 3 years.
What's your favorite color?
Blue and gray.
Have you ever heard of K-pop Monster X?
No.
How does your hair look that good?
It doesn't really look that good today. I like kept it up in a bun, so
I think it looks nice.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
That's good.
Favorite Filipino food?
Oh, I don't like Filipino food. That's like my least favorite.
Emily's
Sorry.
a racist.
Yeah.
Chocolate or fruity?
Chocolate for sure.
Emily, what kind of books do you read if you read?
I don't read a lot, but I do like to listen to like podcasts or audiobooks more.
She doesn't really. She's starting now because of me.
Yeah.
Favorite song?
Favorite song? That's challenging. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Favorite nonprofit work? Or do you like nonprofit work? Sorry.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's
funniest thing that's ever happened to you?
Funniest thing. Ooh.
A funny thing that's happened to you.
A funny thing.
Talking to the mic.
A funny thing. Oh, I can't think of one right now.
Come on.
Okay, funny thing. I talk in my sleep and I say really weird things sometimes.
True. She snores and talks. It's kind of annoying. I literally slept on the couch last night because she was snoring so much.
Because I have congestion, that's why.
Sweet or salty?
I used to be sweet, but now I'm both.
When was the last time Justin made you laugh, and what was it about?
It was about probably he's just like so sarcastic. So every day it's just like, oh, you stinky, or you stink, and it just makes me laugh. I don't know.
What are your modesty rules?
I just go by. I mean, I do like style and I do like keeping up with the trends. Like I like to go shopping, but I don't really like wear anything that shows my belly or that's too low cut or too short of shorts or something. But I do like to dress up.
Favorite thing about Paul and Morgan?
Paul and Morgan. Morgan is hilarious, and Paul is just so super smooth and like he's just smooth.
Super. That jaw though, huh?
Yeah.
Favorite drink?
A smoothie.
Karaoke or Zumba?
I've never done either.
You never done either?
Well, I've done karaoke once. I've never done Zumba, so.
Suggestions for a devotional book?
I feel like Jesus Calling, and I like just on the Bible app, they have different options for like devotions. If you're like going through a certain topic, like stress, you can search stress and it will have different devotions. So I like that.
How old are you?
Guess. 28.
Emily's the old person in our relationship.
I'm just
She's
saying,
1 week
I'm just
older
1
than I
week
am.
older than you.
1 week's a long time.
Whatever.
1 week's the difference between literally no Earth and everything on Earth.
Okay.
Favorite state?
Favorite state is Washington, where we live.
Does anyone here like Adidas pants, sweatpants?
I have never. Well, when I was like in high school, I did, but those are Adidas. Yeah,
I'm literally wearing Adidas sweatpants.
I haven't worn them for a long time.
Favorite food?
Ah, I just love Asian food right now. I'm on an Asian food craze. Chinese,
She got yellow fever.
Chinese, Vietnamese. It's so good.
All right, last one. Mango or papaya?
Oh, mango for sure.
Mango
Oh,
for sure.
do you like papaya?
I
You
don't.
really like
Honestly,
them.
papaya gives me a headache.
Papaya like kind of tastes like BO a little bit. Just it's like has like an aftertaste of BO. Anyways,
I agree.
you do? Okay.
I really dislike it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Thank you for participating in our rapid fire lightning questions.
Yep.
And sweet. You ready to go hang out? What are we going to do tonight?
I have no idea. We need to take Ronan out before it gets dark.
Do you want to go take him to the dog park?
Out of the dog park so he gets some energy out, not bite
Alright.
everything in the house, chew up anything.
Cool. Well, we're going to go hang out because tonight's our last night for this entire week that we get to hang out. Thank everyone saying thank you. Have fun. Bye. Thank you. God bless you, Emily. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you guys, God willing, tomorrow in a live stream. I will attempt to live stream over the next couple of days, but obviously since I'm speaking multiple times and I have other responsibilities while I'm gone, that may not be always the case. But the best way to know is to subscribe, turn on bell notifications so that way if and when I go live, you get a notification. I might try and squeeze in live streams over the next few days at odd times of the day. Maybe I can't do 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time like I always do. Maybe it has to be a couple hours earlier or later or something along those lines. So best way, have some notifications turned on, and I'll see you guys in a future live stream. Thanks, guys. Love you all, and I'll talk to you guys soon. And as I like to say, until next time, I'm that Christian vlogger, and I'll encourage you to experience faith in the first person. God bless, guys. Bye.